Folks, King of Kings, Stephen Harper, releases mass amount of propaganda for all Canadians. Americans aren't handling it, neither is academia. They're not fooled, not in the least. And I gotta say, everybody, I'm very thankful for the crazy of Canada's Crown in their pure and absolute distress in these times today, as they fully come out of the closet in pure electoral autocracy fashion, tyrants of the modern world, leading the charge Conservatives to showcase a beautifully rich history of their Privy Council, their pure autocracy, of a fused executive, legislative, and judicial branch of government. Thousands of documents released by King of Kings, Stephen Harper, and the media on a big frenzy. The news running full-time, non-stop, how Stephen Harper, the greatest of prime ministers, in pure electoral autocracy, gods of all gods, king of all kings, Stephen Harper. I'm very thankful, everybody, because America and America's academia is going to have a field day with the truth of what Canada is in its electoral autocracy, as they've always known it to be. In fact, running behind me is an American academic who's gone through a whole pile of this, but never before has the government of Canada been so bold with their electoral autocracy to showcase it, brag about it to all Canadians, that slavery good, American freedom bad, China good, America bad. Trust Stephen Harper. Let me tell you all a little story. Since the beginning of all monarchies and empires, which is not America. Which is not America. An empire is a ruler who has a privy council, a privy court that's fused with them to oversee all and everywhere, sworn loyal to the king. And when they step out of line, they're gone. Folks, let me tell you the truth that you will find in Stephen Harper's 300,000 documents in writing. If you didn't know, in Canada we have a phony system of at least a partial election system, where sure you elect your dictator and sure you elect your parliamentarians, and of course this is repeated for every province and territory. You get your legislators who are supposed to write all your laws, except for they're overridden by non-elected people who are hand-picked by Prime Minister or regional premiers, called Privy Council or Privy Cabinet, federal and provincial. Stephen Harper says he was fully democratic in everything he did. It was all a matter of his chosen and sworn Privy Council. And don't worry, he took all their ideas except when he didn't. And when they didn't agree with him, it was very simple for Stephen Harper to terminate them, force them down back to regular old MPs, parliamentarians, or even, in fact, throw them out of the party when they didn't agree to what he wanted and Privy Council private. Sure, everything's in writing, but folks, how many Privy Cabinet members, Privy Council members did Stephen Harper have in his 8 years? Well, let me tell you, when Stephen Harper wanted his things done, he would just create a new cabinet position. Sure, he bragged about small government, but that was a lie. In fact, he ballooned his council from 27 to 38. Just exploded it within his first year in office. Created all kinds of new positions on all his agendas, from Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Charles of the time. Whatever UK rolled out, old Stephen Harper created a cabinet position for that and handpicked his overriding legislator to override the Parliament of Canada, like every prime minister before him. Created all kinds of new positions, and anyone throughout those 300,000 documents that didn't agree with Stephen Harper's ideas or what Stephen Harper wanted to do with the British Crown was terminated. How many from 2006 all the way through to 2015, how many cabinet ministers appointed did Stephen Harper go through? All of them, and multiples. Yeah. Whenever they disagreed with Stephen Harper or his trajectory, like every other monarch in history, they were terminated from their position. Whenever Stephen Harper was caught stealing in public or by CSIS or investigated, one of those Privy Cabinet members, council members, had to take the fall for him. This is identical, absolutely, with Justin Trudeau, as well as every other prime minister before them. They would resign, remain an MP, vacate the party, and then eventually lose their seat in the following election, not before securing their lifetime salary of secrecy from all of you. America is going to have a field day in psychology and political science and comparative analysis of Stephen Harper's documents released to try and fool Canadians that having a fused judiciary, a fused legislative branch of government with the executive, like every absolute monarchy in the history of the world for 5,000 years, is somehow perfected today. In Canada's model, it's perfected. It's the ultimate of democracy. No, American researchers absolutely have already done this work and proved beyond any reasonable doubt that Canada is an electoral autocracy. Sure, Canadians elect their next dictator. Sure, you elect legislators. But even when they come up with bills that they have to bounce off an appointed, sworn to the executive senate, where they get transformed 3 times back and forth each until they don't even resemble what the MP who represented the people to bring forward that legislation ever was intended to be. And just in case it does get through because of public outcry, the swift actions of Privy Council to move in and amend all the laws after they're passed and ascended happens almost every single time. You watch it all the time. Doesn't matter which province. Now, Alberta's my home province. I can show you right now legislation apparently done by freedom of the elected legislators in Alberta who crafted the referendum process, who said and passed in majority that $500 would be the cost to file for a referendum to do that work as a Canadian subject. Alberta subject was changed by Privy Cabinet to be $20,000. It didn't go back through the legislative process or the democratic process. It was done by Privy Cabinet at bequest of the Prime Minister, or Premier, and with influence from the Prime Minister, through Governor General to the Lieutenant Governor. That's what they always do. Stephen Harper did all of that entirely. And again, when those who are appointed by him, sworn to him, who are paid by you, the taxpayers, through him, whether you like it or not, and if they don't accept it, they lose that position, they lose that authority, they go back down the ladder. Do they ever complain? Not really, because they get their lifetime wage for the rest of their life for their secrecy and everything that happens behind the scenes. Sure, you get it all in writing, but you might as well put a gun to their head because they're getting paid to say and do whatever the Prime Minister wants them to do. And heaven forbid any of those ever stand up against any prime minister, you can say goodbye. More than 38 times during Stephen Harper's reign of terror. This goes for Justin Trudeau, Jean Chrétien, Paul Martin, Mark Carney. We've already seen it with Mark Carney already. Because you must rinse and repeat whatever your Lord and Master, King of Kings, tells you to say and do. If you don't, you're replaced. That's how it works in Canada. No different than Rome, no different than Egypt, no different than ancient Israel, and on. Pick a system of monarchical rule or imperial rule. You'll find it's all the same. There are no independent branches of government. They're actually fused with the entire executive. And even when the executive tries to say, hey, it's democracy by my King's Council, that's really what we're talking about. King's Court, folks. King's Court. What do you think the Supreme Court of Canada and all superior courts of every province and territory all are? They're appointments, not elected. They're appointments by the Prime Minister through the position of Governor General, by advice and consent of Prime Minister. Oh, sure, Governor General, who currently has no legal background, none whatsoever, not a judge, not a lawyer, not trained at all. That's what you get. And in fact, when you start looking at them, you find out they have no legal experience at all, yet they're appointing all your highest court justices in the provinces and territories, and absolutely the Supreme Court of Canada, the final ruling on all constitutional matters, and any cases the Crown chooses to put forward. Many don't get put forward. The Crown Master Prime Minister doesn't like it, doesn't go through. That's the entirety truth of Canada and the evil that so many now are being propagated into in Canada, that somehow the divine savior, Stephen Harper, was a saint and pure democratic leader, when in fact those are all his sworn appointed who bypass all parliament altogether. His chosen few. And even when those chosen few, like you can look at history of Maxime Bernier, stand against him, you're fired. Beat it. You're gone. Over and over and over again. Do what I say. Think like me. Say all the things I want to hear, or you're gone. This has always been the truth of every monarchy throughout all history for 5,000 years. It's just a recreation of the same thing with other cons. Canada's probably the first system introduced by the British Empire that was a real good way of subjugating people, tricking them into believing they're in a democracy, when really it's just a colorful version of the same old. And now you got media like CBC Global, CTV, all of them telling you the glory of Canada's Privy Council, King's Court. Can you believe it? Well, Americans don't fall for it. They'll teach you all of this. They know exactly what Stephen Harper, Mark Carney, Justin Trudeau, and every single Prime Minister and Premier of Canada really is. And you will see from Stephen Harper's own records in the coming years how America really runs a psychological evaluation of your electoral autocracy. So thanks for that. Canada thinks it's fooling everybody, and they are. They're really fooling Canadians in mass majority. And maybe for Canadians, if the Crown is successful in transferring you into the communist China system, that it'll be too late and there's nothing America can do about it. They're counting on that. Stephen Harper, Mark Carney, Justin Trudeau was partying all over the world with his stolen $200 million. If it was the equivalent of America, it would be like a president going into presidency and within 8 short years leaving office 2 terms with $2 billion. Can you imagine a modest American president coming in worth maybe personally $1 million or $2 million, and then walking out worth $2 billion. It's unheard of, never seen in American history. Sure, America's got its problems. I'm not saying they're free of corruption. No country in the world is. But I promise you, it's minuscule when compared to the corruption of Canada. Far, far worse is Canada on every single level. God bless everybody. That's my video. Get it shared. It's important. I'll see you all at 4 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Mountain on X, where we go through the sad reality of this evil Canada, this Stephen Harper evil Canada, merged with liberal evil Canada, Mark Carney, and what they plan to do to all of you. The hard way to Canada, the 51st state, the bend America's will, who will not be broken, who will not sacrifice Christ for any divine human being who says they are. America will never fall to that. Democrat or Republican in absolute majority. This I guarantee you. If you don't believe me, you can watch experts like this American academic behind me and many, many more. In fact, a majority of the highest level of American constitutional theological experts alive and well today in the United States of America. They will put to bed the whole bullshit of Stephen Harper, Mark Carney, Justin Trudeau. You name it, you pick it, every premier, they'll put that baby to bed. That's my video. God bless. Share, share, share. Get it out there. AI it yourself, and you will find Stephen Harper is nothing but a fraud, like every other single Prime Minister in Canadian history, as are all First Ministers, which are all your premiers. Executive, legislative, judicial. No separation of powers. It's the illusion of it. It's an electoral autocracy. It's a con job for all of you. You are no different than the oldest of old constitutional monarchies, rewrapped in colorful bows with fancy wrapping over and over. Looks like a different kind of present, but you open it up and you get the same thing every time. For 5,000 years, it's never changed. God bless. Love you all. Get it out there. Bye now.